Welcome to Review from the Opposition with Sam Wright. We're going to be talking all things Blackburn Rovers as they came out 2-0 winners at the Den yesterday afternoon with goals from Bradley Dack. Surprise, surprise. And Mr. Gallagher. Sam, lovely to have you back on. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
Yep, no problem at all.
Just imagine, for the people out there that didn't watch yesterday's game, from your perspective, what were the key talking points, and do you think the result was a fair one?
I think the game was quite equal overall. I mean, I certainly don't think Blackburn, blew Millwall away or anything like that. Tough place to go, Millwall, always is. So, obviously lost there at the end of last season. So, it's always a tough place to go. Bradley Dack was fantastic. I was convinced his goal took a deflection, but it turns out it never. So, because of that, I was quite happy that to see that go in. Second goal was a massive slice of luck, don't get me wrong, but we touched on in the preview, if you're going to make a clearance like that in your own box, then you've got to make sure it's right. So, I mean, there was an incident in the Premier League yesterday when Granit Xhaka did something similar against Burnley, and it went in as well. Yeah. So, similar situation, maybe not as bad as the Xhaka one, but a little bit of luck there. And I think Millwall lacked a lot going forward, if I'm being honest with you. I think that when I watched them, they didn't really look like scoring much in the game. They had their chances, but there was never really moments in the game I was thought, we're really under pressure here, like we're going to concede. It all came in moments, really. I think I agree with you. The difference on the day was Bradley Dack, and without Armstrong and Harvey Elliott being on the bench, I was very worried about that. So to have Dack, perform like he did was massively important. If he didn't, I don't think we'd have won. But I mean, it's all fine margins, I guess. And 2-0, probably a little bit flattering. Maybe winning by a goal would have been a bit fairer. But again, I think Millwall's lack of cutting edge going forward and the performance of Bradley Dack were probably the main differences.
Yeah, that little bit more quality. What do you think was Blackburn Rovers' best move of the game?
Best move? Best move's quite difficult to say which one I think it was. In terms of passing move, I don't really think there was a lot. I mean, in terms of best individual, it was definitely Dack for the goal.
Yes, that bit of quality.
The way he worked it. I mean, in terms of passing moves, I don't think there was that many good ones yesterday. I don't think any team played fluent football. But
no,
can't really recall a killer move in the game that made me go, "This is really good play here." I think that it was a lot of scrappy play in the game, but that's a very common thing in the Championship.
Yes,
with all due respect to Championship clubs, a lot of scrappy, and when you've not got the crowd there, I guess to weigh every pass and and will the players on it, like you say, it's even more effective. So I won't say it was a standout move, but just for the quality alone, I'd say Bradley Dack's individual brilliance for the opening goal.
Did anybody from the Millwall side stand out for you as having a particularly good or particularly bad game?
I think when I looked at Millwall, like I say, I think I've always viewed Millwall as a team, like a proper team. I don't think I've ever seen many individuals at Millwall stand up and be fantastic. But I think Millwall do very well. Millwall do very well for for a little, I guess, the expectation that people have always had of them. Really, I mean, they've always been a League One Championship club over the last few years, but they've kind of asserted themselves as a mid-table Championship club now, maybe lacking one or two players to push for the playoff.
Agree.
Quite a big fan of Ryan Woods. I watched him quite a bit at Brentford and Stoke in the past.
Yep.
I don't think he was great yesterday, and he was very lucky not to concede a penalty. In terms of other players, though, I mean, Bennett on the left wing, I've been quite impressed with him when I've watched him this season.
Yes.
But again, I think he was quite quiet yesterday as well. I can't remember if it was him who hit the post or not. One of your players did hit the post at the end. Can't remember if it was him or it was possibly Malone.
Yeah, Scott Malone.
Yeah, I think it was Malone. Yeah, I thought it was. So I think in terms of individual players, I won't say anyone stood out. But again, with Millwall, it's rare I watch them and see individual players be outstanding. They're very much a team, and when they play well, like the win against Preston, where they had to dig deep at the end, it seems to always be a team performance.
What was your view of the officials yesterday? I mean, you've touched on the Ryan Woods from behind tackle in the box, which I think, as I've said to you, if it's anywhere else on the pitch, potentially is going to be called a foul, so potentially should have had a penalty there. Anything else from the officials?
I mean, the thing is, that was at 1-0, so if it wasn't given, then... it wasn't given, sorry. If Millwall had gone and scored at the other end, there might be a little bit of bitterness in me saying, oh, it was definitely a penalty and we've been robbed. But no, I mean, that wasn't the case. Like I said to you in the preview, it's got to be an absolutely perfect tackle from there to get it right. So, and when I looked back at it, it didn't look perfect, but it also didn't look like he made loads of contacts. So... I don't get why that could go down, though, if he felt no contact. I don't get why he'd go down. So, yeah, It was certainly an interesting call. Other than that, though, I think the game was officiated fine, though. I didn't remember anything going on that was that's blatantly, No. I think the referee let a lot go as well.
Yes,
so, yeah, overall, I thought it was quite a decently refereed game, I guess.
No, I think I'd agree. Well, look, well done for winning yesterday. Best of luck for the rest of the season. Fantastic to have you on. And hopefully, I imagine looking at the stats, we'll meet each other again next season, and maybe we can do this in person.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, thank you very much for having me on again, and yeah, good luck to Millwall for the rest of the season. And yeah, thank you very much again for having me on in the preview and in the post-match.
So that was Sam Wright there from Championship Unrestricted on Facebook and Blackburn Rovers fans. I've seen some truly bonkers things out there, really, from my perspective on Facebook about sacking Gary Rowett, etc., etc. If you ever, I don't know if many of you do, go to 538, it gives you the percentage chance of all the different things that are likely to happen with the rest of the season. Basically, Millwall now have a less than 1% chance of doing anything. So not making the playoffs, not getting relegated, certainly not winning the league. And that's based on the strength of schedule and the games we're likely to win. We're only a few points now, I think 3 or 4 points off 50 points. A few things that I think had a bearing on yesterday's game and for us to really think about. Only 22 squad players, smallest size squad available for yesterday's game out of all of the teams in the Championship. Number one. Number two, the second half against Preston midweek has got to have taken it out of him. As Sam said, Mason Bennett looked absolutely knackered yesterday, as a number of the other players did as well. There were a few other indicators as well. Not being funny, we had more possession, which we hardly ever do. I know it was almost 50-50, but I think we had 51% possession. And we had a few really gilt-edged chances that we should have taken. We also hit the post. So I don't think it's really panic stations, to be perfectly honest. And there's really no one around us as well in the Championship with any type of consistent form. If you look at the teams outside the top 6, nobody has won more than 2 games in the last 5. So no one's got that consistency. Everyone's winning and then losing and then winning and then losing. I think it's really interesting. Obviously, we did the Barnsley one last weekend with AD. Barnsley won again this week. They've got the best form in the Championship and have gone into 6th. So tricky couple of games. Bradley Dack was the difference yesterday. Looking ahead then to Derby County next weekend. Only won 5 home games this season. They were on a great run of form and that's kind of slipped away. So with 3/4 of the season done, currently sitting in 11th place, that's not the end of the world. I think certainly we haven't got fans in the ground. We haven't got people to go and make that extra 12th man on Saturday. So we've got to do what we can. Looking forward to speaking to some Derby counties. We've got the Rams review next weekend. And from then, hopefully we can get 3 points, make sure that we are definitely safe over that 50-point key marker. And we can go on and have another season of the Championship next year and kick on and do something proper. All right, come on, you Lions.